Smith throws the ball upfield, open in the end zone, and it's going to be a touchdown.
Oh, he wasn't down! He's going all the way! That's a touchdown!
Happy Thanksgiving. This is Jim Boyle coming to you from the Wildcat weight room prior to today's 2018 Thanksgiving Day football game versus the Tewksbury Redmen. Just a few minutes ago, I had an opportunity to talk to some of the senior co-captains as well as Coach Turner as they prepare for today's football game. We're here with the four senior co-captains. We've got Kyle Kenyon, we've got Connor Benoit, we've got Peter Marino Jr., and we've got Andrew Sullivan. And we're just going to try to see what how they're feeling getting ready to go into the Tewksbury game. So first question for you guys is, what have you been doing this week and over the week to prepare to play Tewksbury?
Watching a lot of film, practicing hard, getting ready for the big game.
Getting locked in mentally.
Tough physical practices. Everyone's giving their best, so I think it'll be a fun game.
Like Pete said, everyone's working hard, just got to get ready.
Okay, so those are all cliches we have going here. What are we actually going to do when we hit the football field to beat Tewksbury? What do we think we're going to do? What do you have to do to beat Tewksbury? No cliches. Give me a true, honest answer. We'll go with Pete first.
We're gonna have to play hard. You can't give any plays off. Everyone has to be given 100%. Otherwise, the game might not go as we want.
We got to hit them first. Make sure we know that, well, they know that we're ready to play.
We got to definitely score on the first drive. That's for sure.
Yeah, start off great and then just keep going. Don't stop. We got to play hard all game.
Do you know? Here's a question: how many games has Tewksbury won in a row in the series? Anybody know?
No, 8.
It's like 8. All right. So this being Thanksgiving, this is generally the last football game that the majority of senior football players play in their careers. So I just want to go through with our four senior co-captains to get some of their thoughts about playing in their last game, some of their memories of Wilmington football, some of their memories of football in general. So let's start with Connor. It's your last football game here at Wilmington. What are your memories of Thanksgiving Day games and Wilmington in general?
Thanksgiving games have been great. We lost the last couple of years, but this year we're going to try to get the W out there.
Okay, Peter, what are your memories of playing for Wilmington football just in general?
These seniors I've always played with since Pop Warner. It's gonna be really tough not playing with them again. So I'm just gonna give it my all, and hopefully they do too.
Andrew, memories of Thanksgiving, because I know your father's a coach, your mother graduated from Wilmington High School. So you've probably been to a million things.
Yeah, I remember growing up, always going to them. I couldn't play last year because of my injury, but sophomore year we gave them a good run. And, I hope we come out with the victory.
And Kyle, memories of Thanksgiving, going running on the field. What's it going to be like running on that field for the last time?
Well, I'm not going to run on the field. I broke my fibula a few weeks ago, but
Walking on the field.
I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. It kind of sucks that I'm not going to play in it, but the past few years, sophomore year, like Sally said, we gave them a good run at it. Memory's been pretty good.
Okay, so now what's your number one football memory that you're going to bring to me? I don't care whether it's Wilmington or Pop Warner or watching a game with your dad on TV. Andrew?
Definitely winning back-to-back Eastern Mass championships in Pop Warner.
I was part of Andrew's team, so I'd probably have to agree with him there. Fun season, missing it.
I'd say last year's playoff game against Marblehead. We were down. We came back. We didn't get the W, but it was a hard-fought game.
Yeah, what Sully and Peter said, playing in the Eastern Mass Championship, that was fun, both times.
You were on the team? Okay, and finally, what are you thankful for? It's Thanksgiving tomorrow, or today. Forget that. We'll cut that out. It's Thanksgiving coming up. So on Thanksgiving, what are you thankful for? We'll start with Connor.
I'm thankful for my coach, my family, and just the opportunity to play my last football game here at Wilmington.
Thank you.
Family, yeah. Everyone's been supporting me since I broke my leg. I really appreciate it.
Peter?
Family, friends, the ability to play football, my coaches all shaped me to be who I am today.
And Andrew?
Same as them, family and friends, everyone that's given me an opportunity.
Peter, are you thankful your dad's not from Alston?
Yes.
We're back here with second-year coach Craig Turner of the Wilmington Wildcats as he prepares for the Thanksgiving Day game against Tewksbury. Coach Turner, what have you been doing in preparation to play Tewksbury, who comes in with a 10-1 or 11-1 record?
You know, just a lot of work, getting ready for the film. And, I've told people the last couple of years, I don't know how people get ready for them in a week. So I'm happy we get a little bit of extra time. So, they're a well-coached team. They're tough to get ready for. They do a ton on offense. And we're certainly making use of the extra time. So I wish they'd give me a few more days.
So it's your second Thanksgiving Day game, second against Tewksbury. I know you've grown up in the area, so you've played a lot of Thanksgiving Day games. What do you think it'll take on Thursday for Wilmington to be competitive and maybe even win the football game?
We need to be as well prepared as possible, obviously. I mean, they do so much offensively that they can put you in a bad spot just by your alignment and not being kind of prepared for something. So, we're really kind of making sure we kind of cross all the T's in that area there. So making sure we're ready for all the funny stuff that they do, because they always got a couple trick plays up their sleeves. So we're kind of doing, mimicking stuff we've seen them do in the past and stuff we think they might think is cool. So getting ready for all that stuff. And then, all the simple stuff that you hear every coach say, we can't turn it over, we can't commit penalties, they're too good a team. If we do that stuff, we'll be in trouble. But 10-1, 11-1, or 1-11, it's Thanksgiving, you got to kind of throw them out. And, it's a good board award, nice crosstown rivalry, can't get better than that. So, we'll give them our best shot.
Okay, now it is Thanksgiving, so it's the end of the season. So as a head coach, I mean, it's a fun time because the kids get to play, but it's also, I'm not going to call it a sad time, but it's a tough time for a coach because it's another senior year class graduating, so this is your second year, your graduating class. What are some of your memories of this graduating class, and how are you going to look, as you look back, how are you going to look at this team?
Yeah, I mean, this is a fun group. They've been, really bought into everything us and our, me and the staff have asked them to do. I mean, they came out in droves to workouts all summer. They were here all summer long. From pretty much May on, they worked their absolute tails off. If I asked them to try and knock the brick wall over, they'd try. So I'll remember that about this group. They'll do anything I ask them to do, and they fight till the end. And they're a really fun, coachable group to be around. It was fun and easy to go to practice every day. I've been around other groups where you can't really say that, and so it's been an enjoyable time for me and my staff to kind of work with these guys every day. And the wins haven't been there this year like we would have hoped, and that's going to happen. They can't all be like it was last year, but that's not a knock on this senior class at all. I love these guys. They're great kids. They come from good families, good hardworking kids, and they're going to be successful down the road. I'm fairly certain of that.
Okay, so being Thanksgiving, what are your fondest memories of Thanksgiving Day football games, whether it's Pop Warner or whether it's high school or whether it's coaching or college or whatever? What's number one memory of Thanksgiving for you?
Man, I guess I think my number one memory would have to be either, my father went to Shawsheen, so as a kid, he played for Eddie Gillis at Shawsheen, so as a kid, I used to go to the Shawsheen games on Thanksgiving with my father, and Coach Gillis used to let me and my father come into the game in the locker, come to the locker room before the game and stuff, and that's kind of where I fell in love with football back then. And I guess my number one memory, other than that, probably as a player, it's '99 when I played at Billerica High. We played Chelmsford for the league title. The winner went to the Super Bowl, and depending on who you ask, it was 13,000 people there. But all I remember is walking up the hill, waking up in the morning at 7:30, and my father was already gone tailgating. He left before I did, and then getting to the field and walking up the hill and just seeing piles and piles of people there. And we were able to win the game in a tight one and go to the Super Bowl. And I was a sophomore at the time, and played some snaps on defense. That was a really memorable day, and something you tell the kids, and it's hard for the kids to realize it, but you really do remember those days for the rest of your life. And it's my favorite day of the year because it brings back so many feelings and memories of happy stuff and sad stuff, and it really kind of checks off every box on the list in terms of the roller coaster emotions that we'll feel on Thursday.
All right, thanks. And one final thing, what are you thankful for? It's Thanksgiving, so what are you thankful for?
Thankful for, my family and my friends, obviously, a beautiful wife, Brittany, and my beautiful daughter, Amelia. And, very thankful for these kids and these coaches that really, put in so much time and effort into this program, and for their parents that allow their kids to do that. And, thankful for everybody in Wilmington who's been so nice and welcoming to me over the last couple of years, and appreciate their support.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
As we get ready to send our seniors off for their final game as Wildcats, Let's send it up to the booth for Chris Neville and his call and the kickoff of the 85th annual Tewksbury-Wilmington Thanksgiving Day game. We'll be right back after these messages from Aligned Federal Credit Union.
WCTV's coverage of Wildcat football this fall is sponsored by Align Credit Union. Not only focused on personal and business banking, Align is a community credit union participating in events throughout the region. Located next to Lucci's and also at aligncu.com. Align Credit Union, connecting all your banking needs.
And good morning from a frigid alumni field in Wilmington. It's the 2018 Thanksgiving Day Football Classic. The 85th annual meeting is the Tewksbury Redmen. The Super Bowl-bound Tewksbury Redmen invade Wildcat country. Wildcats come into today's game with a record of 3-7 and a 5-game losing streak. Tewksbury comes in with a blistering 7-game winning streak, and they are on the way to the Super Bowl next week at Gillette Stadium. My broadcast partner Jim Boyle just came up from downstairs. He talked with the coach and the captains before the game. Jim, I know the Wildcats are getting some bodies back. What can we expect from today?
Well, what we would expect today is at least the seniors going out, hopefully on a good note, playing a very difficult Tewksbury team. I think the vibe downstairs was that it's going to be a tough matchup, not only with the weather, but also with Tewksbury, who we, as just mentioned, is going to the D3 Super Bowl. So we'll see what happens here. And the coach, like he said, is going to be playing a lot of young players. Here's the kick.
Tewksbury won the toss. They deferred to the second half. Ball comes down to DeMonico inside the 20-yard line, cuts up the middle, and he gets some good yardage out to the 35-yard line. Opening kickoff.
Again, special teams has been a problem all year, so that's a nice catch and return. Just to give you the update, temperature outside today, a balmy 16 degrees. Wind out of the north-northwest at 17 miles an hour, so it's going across the field, which a wind chill factor of about 0. So let's see how Wilmington can handle this big Tewksbury front and the quickness of Tewksbury, and see if they can stay within themselves and run some offense.
A little bit of a sparse crowd, late arriving crowd this morning, understandably so. Andy Sullivan comes out with 2 running backs in the backfield. Big loss this week is Kyle Kenyon, who's out for the year. Handoff inside to Peter Marino, cuts back up the middle, gains 3 or 4 yards, almost out to the 40-yard line, where he's brought down by a host of Tewksbury tacklers.
So I expect to see a lot of Pete Marino into the Tewksbury defensive line, because it's going to be ball control, keep the Tewksbury offense off the field. So let's see if we can generate some holes for Mr. Marino, and he can end his senior year on a good note.
It's kind of critical for the Wildcats, Jim, to maintain some kind of form of ball control out here today, because Tewksbury's got such an explosive offense. They get the ball and they're off to the races almost every game this year.
That is correct. Also with the cold, it's probably easy to hand it off and let Marino do his job.
Hand off again, and Marino stopped in the backfield for a loss of a couple of yards.
But then again, it's imperative that our offensive line can at least keep their defensive line out of our backfield. The going concern over the last 5-game losing streak is that the defensive lines of other teams have manhandled us on the offensive line, and Marino and company have not had a lot of room to run. So big call here on 3rd down.
Tewksbury's captain Zach Whites and John Lestrin on the last tackle. Single setback with Sullivan right now. Back to pass. Marino's off to the right, finds some open running room, and he's good for a first down across the 45 to the 46-yard line. So first down for the Wildcats.
So they break out a play that they have not used almost all year, which is try to get Marino in space with a little bit of a swing pass. He runs the wheel route really well, makes a great catch with his hands. Not to mention that Peter's also a very good outfielder for our baseball team. Pick up the first down, run the clock, and keep on going. That's the way we want to see it.
We got 10-minute quarters for today's game. A little bit of a switch from past years, maybe partially because of the cold. We'll tell you that both bands, the Tewksbury band is here, the Wilmington band is not here today because most of the instruments will be frozen trying to come out here to perform today. There's a timeout call by Wilmington.
Wilmington takes a 30-second timeout.
So 8:26 to go here in the first quarter.
Coach Turner must have seen something he didn't like, or the play clock was running down, and do not need to have any negative plays. So the goal here on offense is to run positive plays, a run clock, and keep the explosive Tewksbury offense off the field. So in order to do that, probably going to see Marino and Pete Marino would, if he can get 25 to 30 touches today, it'll be a successful offensive game for them. And then let Andrew Sullivan make some quick, good decisions as a quarterback as those two end their careers here as Wildcats.
Okay, Robarge and Benoit is split on the left. Hand off to Marino, finds some running room along the left side, cuts back, and he's got a 9-yard gain out to the Tewksbury 45-yard line.
There's a flag on the play.
Holding against Wilmington.
So as we come out of the timeout, we talk about negative plays. There's our negative play, so pushing Wilmington back, which is now make a very big uphill climb.
The wind is blowing very strong across the field from the press box side where you're watching the game across toward the Tewksbury bench, so it will probably impact the kicking game to a certain degree, but the direction the Wildcats are going, the ball will tend to flare out to the right-hand side on the passes and on any of the kicking. So
again,
Wildcats 1st and 20 now. DeMonico and Marino in the backfield. Fakes the handoff, actually goes to Marino to the right, cuts back, across the 40 to the 42.
So again, the ability to get Peter into space, very successful. There's they run the option with Sullivan and Marino, and again, Sullivan makes the right call to pitch the ball there, and a nice positive pickup after the penalty. So they shorten the distance.
Sophomore Peter Diadamo just checked into the game for the Wildcats, number 28.
And one of the things I think Coach told us before the game is he has had, with the injuries, he's had to play a lot of younger players. So that'll be a good positive springboard towards next year as well. So we have a positive springboard for next year, and seniors playing their last game as Wildcats today. There's 2 storylines.
Mark Rod is split out wide to the right. Sullivan back to pass. He flares it out. Intended for Robarge. It's incomplete.
Probably good that was not caught, because Robarge would have felt the wrath of the Tewksbury defense here over on our left-hand side. It's going to be tough to throw the ball this way towards the press box.
3rd and 14 for the Wildcats. I want to thank you for joining us for Wilmington Community Television's broadcast of today's game. Sponsored today is the Line Credit Union, as it has been all season. We want to thank them for giving us the opportunity to get these games televised and cover some of the expenses. 3rd and 14, Wildcats have the ball at their own 42. Sullivan back to pass. He sprints out to the right, starts to run with it, cuts back. He's stopped short, knocked out of bounds at the 46-yard line.
So there's a classic case of Wilmington with that penalty on 1st down, playing in negative yardage. In this case here, they pick up about 9 yards on that possession, but with a 10-yard penalty, it leaves them with 4th and 10. So again, like I said, it's imperative on the offensive side of the board not to incur those negative plays.
Shane Elwood, the very talented junior wide receiver for Tewksbury, is standing back at his own 23-yard line. The kick is away. It's toward the sideline at the 30, and it's going to roll dead at the 27-yard line, where the Redmen will take over 1st down.
Yeah, about a 32-yard punt there for Wilmington, which again doesn't help with field position changes, but we will start Tewksbury back inside their own 30-yard line, as we now get to see this vaunted Tewksbury offense, which has led them to a 10-1 record and the final championship game in the Super Bowl.
So we'll see how the Wildcat defense can stack up against Tewksbury. We've got a couple of freshmen on the defensive side of the ball for the Wildcats, including Marcello Mizuraka. Connolly in right behind center. 2 running backs, hands it off to the second man through. Goes for a big gain outside of the 45-yard line.
This has been the story of the past 5 or 6 games. Teams just pounding at us, running the football.
Sean Kaiser in on that carry.
It's been a tough couple. It's been a tough stretch for the Wildcat defensive line too for the last 5 or 6 games as they try to play against much bigger opponents. It's been like I said, a really tough stretch.
Alward in the backfield now. Handoff is to Alwood, who comes to the right side, and he's going to be brought down for a loss of a yard. Christian Robarge in the tackle, along with Bailey Smith. Coach is happy to have him back in the lineup today.
Yeah, Bailey, who had broken his hand, somewhere on his hand, had quick surgery done and playing probably with a small brace on. I saw him also. He's a junior, but I did talk to him before the game today as well, and he was ready to go. Looks like he'll be a big addition back onto our defense at that linebacker position.
Connor Brinklow split out wide to the left for the Redmen. Back to pass, flared out to Elwood, who completes it. He stopped after a short gain. Good defense by the Wildcats over there.
Again, everybody understanding their assignments on that little screen pass. Wilmington plugging the holes. The linebackers, the defensive line getting over to the right there to stop Outward, who is a dynamic player for Tewksbury.
Nick Coleman on the stop, and I think Pat McAndrew might have been over there as well after the short gain. 3rd and 8 for Tewksbury.
I would expect this to be 2-down territory for the Redmen.
Connolly again back to pass, looks downfield, lets the ball go. It's complete at the 41-yard line, complete for a first down. That is complete to Connor Brinklow, senior wide receiver.
On that play, they slipped in the seam between the linebacker and the defensive backs there, found the opening, and Connolly did a really good job finding him, getting the ball only where he could catch it, up over top of the linebacker and underneath the defensive back.
Connolly, a real solid 3-year starter for the Redmen. He tore the Wildcats apart last year as well. Fakes the handoff on the crossing pattern, and Jack Kelly carries the ball, senior co-captain.
40 with the tackle. 40.
Marcello Mizuraka on the tackle for the Wildcats. Pickup of 7, 2nd and 3.
Look at that little counter play, getting our defense moving one way and the offense going the other way has been successful twice now. Let's see if they continue to try to pound the ball or if they have some kind of a fun offensive play here for Tewksbury.
If you're watching at home, which I guess if you're watching here, you are watching from home. A lot of glare on the field, early morning sunshine. That'll dissipate a little bit as the game goes on. Handoff up the middle. Good tackle on the play. Bailey Smith on the tackle. Running back was Jack Kelly again.
Again, Bailey fills the hole there really well with a good solid tackle. Even though it is a first down, it was if he does not make that tackle, that could go all the way for 6. So Bailey fills the hole well.
Enough for a first down. Wow, Redmen are on the drive here. There's only 3:38 to go in the first quarter, so it's a quick moving quarter so far.
And you don't have to be watching this at home, because I do know WCTV does have the app where you can watch online as well. So
that's right. So you could be sitting in your car, I guess, if you had an internet feed.
Or you could be sitting at work wasting time, which is what I'll be doing next week.
Connolly looks downfield, a little pressure on. He lets the ball go, and it's incomplete down near the goal line. Good pressure for the Wildcats by Tyler Thomas, senior defensive lineman.
21, please. Second and 10 for the Redmen. That's R21.
Coverage on the play by junior Tristan Champa, who's also the backup quarterback for the Wildcats.
Again, forcing Tewksbury into a passing situation is nice there, because the wind is going to play havoc on any pass over 10 or 15 yards. So let's see what Wilmington can do on this second long.
Handoff to Kaiser, inside reverse handoff to Shane Elwood, who takes it down inside the 20-yard line, inside the 15, I believe, for another Tewksbury first down. Good inside ball handling.
There again with the little counter reverse. Wilmington's pursuit angles are wrong, not wrong, but they're going one way, and Tewksbury decides to counter that a little bit with a reverse, and the coach's son picks up a big pickup there. Again, you're gonna have to maintain your defensive spot and not lose your coverage areas.
Elwood split wide to the right. Single setback as DeRigo in the backfield behind Connolly. Kelly goes in motion, pitch back to DeRigo. Sprints out wide to the left and for a touchdown. 11-yard touchdown run by sophomore Kyle DeRigo. And Tewksbury's out to an early 6-0 lead here at Alumni Field. 2:28 to go in the first quarter.
And that touchdown, a very basic play, really a real quick pitch quarterback to DeRigo. DeRigo has plenty of space to run. Once he gets into past the first line of defense, there's nobody there to touch him. Basically, he goes untouched. And a really nice play call there by Tewksbury.
Adam Donovan in for the extra point for the Redmen. Elwood is holding. Kick is up, and it is good.
So if this is going to be a precursor for Tewksbury going to next week, there are a couple things that they'd want to try to do and successfully accomplish that. One thing is to control the ball because they are going to be playing Springfield Central, who's a school with a lot bigger, a lot more enrollment. And then also make sure your kicking game is adequate and you're not missing extra points, so you're never falling behind, losing that 1 point. For the Wildcats, it's going to be imperative for the Wildcats, at least on defense, to try to hold the offense, the line of scrimmage if they can, to let their linebackers and defensive backs make tackles. In that instance, where with the quick pitch, just that pitch got the running back into space, and our defensive line was held up, lost the defensive line battle, and there was just nobody in our secondary or linebacker core that could make that play.
Just want to correct, it was Tyler Keogh on the extra point for Tewksbury, number 23, not number 13. So he'll be kicking off again from the 40-yard line. Once again, DeMonico, and from what I can see, Peter Diadamo taking the ball back is DeMonico at the 20, cuts to the left, finds running room out to the 25, out to the 30, and then he's taken down by 2 or 3 Tewksbury tacklers at the 31.
Again, another relatively successful kickoff for the kickoff return for the Wildcats. So on on the 3 special teams plays that we've had today, as I do know that Coach says they do play a lot of younger players on their special teams. They've actually had 3 relatively successful special teams play here. So let's see if we can generate some offense here to run clock and get Marino some more touches.
Riley Oth in on the tackle for Tewksbury on that play. Once again, 2 running backs in the backfield. One of them, I believe, is Jared Venezia. Well, at least he's wearing number 23. Back to pass to Sullivan. It's intended and intercepted by 34. Riley runs down the left sideline at the 10 and into the end zone for a touchdown.
That ball looked like it was deflected on the pass. He had Venezia open in the flat, but it looks like somebody on the defensive line for Tewksbury got their hands up, deflected it right into the defensive back's hands for the pick 6. And within 20 seconds, the Redmond scored twice to go up 13 or possibly 14-0.
Okay, so once again, Keogh in for the extra point for Tewksbury. That didn't take long. First play from scrimmage is picked off for the Wildcats. Keogh's kick is up and good, and the Wildcats are now down 14-0 with still 2 minutes to go in the first quarter.
So the positive that they had on the special teams play by getting the ball out to about the 30, 35-yard line becomes a negative on the pick 6. But once again, the offensive line for Wilmington is going to have to do a much better job controlling the line of scrimmage than they have early on in this game, because if they do not do that, Tewksbury's defense will completely overrun Wilmington's offense. So like I said, it's going to be imperative for our offensive line to play a little bit better and give Sullivan and company a little bit more room to operate. So as we get ready for the third Tewksbury kickoff here with 2:01 to play in the first quarter, Wilmington already down 14-0. Again, the crowd is filled in okay. It's not a typical Thanksgiving Day crowd, but with the temperatures running about 16 degrees and a wind chill factor of 0, I would not have expected a huge capacity crowd.
Found another couple of mistakes on our player roster here. Venezia kicks the ball off. It's short this time, and it's going to be caught by Mizuraka. I guess
He must have very caught that.
Yeah, I think as he was catching it, he made a sign as if to be a fair catch. I don't know if that was his intent, but Wildcats will take over at the 29-yard line, down 14-0.
Which in a game I watched last weekend, the fair catch on an onside kick, whereas although the ball does not hit the ground, the receiving team can fair catch at any spot during an onside kick. So I did learn that in a college game last week where the play was successfully executed by the offensive side, the kicking team, but the player had called fair catch, and they had to let him have an ability to catch the ball. So not a bad call there. You don't want to fumble that. You catch it, you get it to 30.
Marino back in the backfield by himself. Inside handoff, Sullivan hands off. Marino fights his way forward for about 3 yards, taken down at the 32.
So again, the ability to control the ball and the clock and run the clock is imperative to keep this game close here in the first quarter. You do not want to give the ball back to the Tewksbury offense, as they've shown their ability, their big play ability, as well as their ability to drive the ball down the football field. So there is a reason why they're going to play in the Super Bowl next week down at Gillette.
Peter Diadamo in the slot, seeing a lot of action, just a sophomore. Rovage is split wide to the left. Man in motion, is Benoit, but Sullivan fumbled the ball, and it looks like Tewksbury's recovered. Fumble on the handoff.
So second consecutive turnover for the Wildcats in the last 3 plays. And with the score 14-0, Tewksbury has an opportunity to put this game away here in the cold relatively early. Like I said, it's a great game to be a Tewksbury Redmond here right now. The cold's not bothering them at all.
Kelly in the backfield with Elwood, man in motion, comes left to right. Connolly back to pass. He's hit as he lets it go, and it's going to be picked off by Peter Marino. So another turnover for the Wildcats inside the 5-yard line.
Well, Tewksbury got greedy there. Marino in the right, they're in the right place, making sure that he's got the ball in his hands before he goes down. And again, so now the turnover is 2 Wilmington, 1 Tewksbury. Again, trying to throw the ball down there at that distance into this wind is not going to be an easy task. So again, going with that direction with that football pass there. Marino was just ready as that pass held up.
So Wildcats deep in their own territory now, down at about the 4 or 5 yard line. A little bit of action along the line of scrimmage before the snap. I don't see any flags down. Looks like ball carrier Marino was stopped for a loss again for a yard or 2.
So they're getting back towards their end zone as they start this drive on their own 4-yard line. 40 seconds to play here in the quarter.
Tewksbury's playing up on the line of scrimmage. No safeties back, so they're either challenging the Wildcats to pass or they're just focusing on the run.
Good pickup, Chris, there, that there's no safety deep. Mr. Neville with the veteran play-by-play call there.
Sullivan goes to the right for a pass, lets the ball go downfield, and there's nobody there. Connor Benoit was downfield about 10 or 15 yards, but he was well covered, and the ball went short and out of bounds. So Wildcats are now backed up at about the 3 or 4 yard line, third and about 11.
Not sure if that was a Sullivan mistake or if that was Benoit didn't run the right route. But one of the things with Kyle Kenyon being out here, he's been very effective all year in that short passing game, which is really on a day like today something you're going to need. And he is not available to play today, so that will impact the way the offense gets run.
Probably looking at the last play of the first quarter here, 8 seconds left to go on the clock. Robaj splits out wide to the left. And there's a timeout called on the field by the Wildcats. So Craig Turner wants to talk it over with his offense, bottled up deep in their own end. Don't want to make a mistake down here with punt formation coming up if they can't get a first down. So
yeah, it's imperative you don't turn the ball over, but again, you're going to have to punt back most likely anyway unless you get a play here. Again, I wouldn't be shocked. The play that worked really well in that first drive was a little wheel route. They got to Marino, get the running back out of the backfield, get Peter into space. That play has not been called as much this year as you might have expected, but it did work in the first drive, and I wouldn't be shocked to see them go right and try to wheel route Marino, try to get him a little space against the defensive backs and let him use his speed and his elusiveness to try to pick up some yardage. But because it's going to be very difficult, like I said earlier, to pass this ball more than 10 yards for either side, no matter who the quarterback is. Well, maybe if you had Drew Brees back there, it would be a little different. But it'll be very difficult to throw the ball deep, which is why I would imagine Tewksbury's playing with no safety. It looks like they're playing 11 men in the box almost. So that would not shock me. So here, let's see if we can get the ball to Marino in space and go from there.
Okay, Marino is the only one in the backfield. 3 wide receivers to the left side of the offensive line. Sullivan looks downfield, lets the ball go deep, It's intended for, it's like
Marquardt, that was Jason Marquardt.
Marquardt.
84.
Single coverage brings up 4th down with 1 second left to go on the clock.
So again,
And
on that
looks
play,
like we're going to have a quarter break here anyway, Jim.
okay, on that play, Chris, it was on a normal day without the wind. Marquardt was behind the back, would have beaten the back there. But the wind, even though the wind looks like it's coming across in his direction, held it up a little bit.
Okay, we'll be back with second quarter action in a minute. We're going to take a look at some of the other Wildcat fall sports captains. A couple of snippets here between the quarters. And we'll be back with the second quarter action right after this.
At this time, we would like to recognize our seniors and their parents for their commitment to the Wilmington High School boys soccer program over the past 4 years. Number 1, Marcus Barnes, accompanied by his mom, Connie. Number 5, Captain Troy Rixtons, accompanied by Debbie and Ed. Number 6, Captain Noah Ferrer, accompanied by his parents, Ushi and Brian. Number 8, Kevin Souza, accompanied by his parents, Leslie and Stan. Number 11, Mark Rogamentich, accompanied by his parents, Amy and Fran. Number 12, Justin Coleman, accompanied by his parents, Paige and Tim. Number 13, Chris Spinazzola, accompanied by his parents, Linda and Mike. Number 14, Joe Consorti, accompanied by his parents, Deb and Bob. Number 16, Encore Nyogi, accompanied by his parents, Nahali and Deepankar. Number 17, Captain Cam Martin, accompanied by his parents, Jerry and Steve. And number 20, Andrew Days, accompanied by his parents, Nancy and Chris. Thank you again to the seniors and their parents.
As they said, any other target. Yeah.
Punt's blocked.
Punt is blocked in the end zone, recovered by Tewksbury for a touchdown on the first play of the second quarter. So Wildcats are really struggling here early on, and Tewksbury is making all the right moves.
There's a situation as we came out of the quarter quick. They're trying to move this game along quickly. Wilmington with a short amount of area to punt, so the ball being on the 3-yard line, the punter is usually 12 to 15 yards deep there. There he could, if he was at the back of the end zone, he'd be lucky to be at 13 yards. Short distance in order to punt it. The Tewksbury broke through the line of scrimmage and got the block for the touchdown.
Instead, Keogh is in to attempt his third extra point. Elward on the hold. Kick is faked,
flag.
And man wide open in the end zone, complete for a 2-point conversion. I think Derek Graffeo, number 14, got it. The 2-point conversion, and Tewksbury is now up 22-0. One play into the second quarter. It was a penalty against the Wildcats on the snap, apparently. That penalty is obviously declined. I want to remind you that WCTV is looking for help to broadcast a lot of the winter sports teams. Reminder that the boys and girls basketball season kicks off at Wilmington High School on December 14th. We'll be covering 2 games at the gymnasium. And if you'd like to be part of that broadcast team, either on play-by-play or as part of the camera staff, we'll be more than happy to have you come along. You can contact the studio at 978-657-4066.
And the next time we'll be coming to you will be from the high school for the first doubleheader of the basketball season. Boys and girls will go doubleheader. We'll have Larry Gordon calling the girls' games and yours truly, Jim Boyle, doing the boys' games. We'll have a hopefully good full coverage of basketball throughout the season. Anybody interested in learning how to do play-by-play? Color's not hard. I've learned that over the course of this year. Doing the play-by-play that Chris does is the hard part. Doing the color that I've done for football all year is easy. But anybody willing to learn, I'm willing to help out throughout boys basketball.
Okay, Keogh steps into the ball.
28.
Picked up by Peter Diadamo again. Brings it back out to the 32, 33-yard line where the Wildcats will be taking over.
Diadamo returns the kick past his 30-yard line. First and 10 for the Wildcats. The 34.
So we will come out here, and again, let's see if they can at least generate some semblance of offense. The Redmen have scored on 2 turnovers, one a pick 6 and one a blocked punt, and then they had 1 long drive. So we'll be trying not to turn the ball over.
Wildcats come out with Venezia in the backfield, number 25. At least that's what's on my roster is the blocking back. Marino sprints out to the right. He's stopped for no gain at the 34-yard line.
Marino stopped for no gain by Tewksbury's number 77, Connor Nugent.
Again, imperative that we at least can control the line of scrimmage in some way, shape, or form.
And one of our rosters has Shane Penny as a sophomore in there, and the other one says Jar Venezia, that's not been his number all year long, so we'll get some clarification for that later. Until then, Marino's lone setback in the backfield, 4 wide receivers out. Marino keeps the ball, picks up about 3 or 4 yards. Good push on the line of scrimmage. Tyler Thomas trying to gain a couple extra yards.
Tough sledding in there in the interior line against this Tewksbury defense. I think wasn't Venezia at one point, he was a linebacker, so he was like 55. Yeah. I don't know if he can have 55 in the backfield, so maybe they switched him to 25. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Third down and 7.
3rd and 7 for the Wildcats. 4 wide receivers split out. Back to pass. Sullivan sets up a screen. Sullivan scrambles, lets the ball go out of bounds, incomplete. So once again, the Redmen hold on defense, and the Wildcats bring up another punt formation from their own 37-yard line. Not much luck moving the ball today at all, which is consistent with what we've seen the last 4 or 5 ball games for the Wildcats.
And the irony here, again, is not to make excuses for Wilmington, but I'm going to make a big excuse here for them now. They have played some schools that are a class or two above them over the last 4 games. Lid Classical, Somerville, Winchester, and now Tewksbury, all really basically they're schools with much bigger student populations than Wilmington has. So it's difficult as you play up. They play up in the Middlesex League a lot of times as well. So, no excuses to be made, and with a lot of injuries. But it has not been an easy road over the last 4 or 5 games for them.
Okay, Robarge into punt. This time he gets the ball away. It's a low liner, picked up. Actually, the ball is going to be rolling dead inside the 35-yard line. The 32-yard line.
So now we'll make them drive the field here. They've had the last 2 scores have been on, like I said, on a pick 6 and on a block punt. And their first drive was about a 71-yard drive. So this one will be a 70 if they can execute a bit, a 68-yard drive.
Freshman Gavin Erickson down the ball for the Wildcats down to the 32. So Tewksbury comes out again for their 3rd real drive of the game so far. Handoff, good defensive play. Smolinski and I think it was Bailey Smith on the tackle that stopped the ball carrier at the line of scrimmage for a loss of a yard.
That play that little spinning move play did not impact, did not confuse the Wildcats there at all.
2nd and 11 for the Redmen.
It'll be interesting what Tewksbury shows us the rest of the game, as I'm sure Springfield Central is actually, we got a guy right down here in front of us videotaping the game. See what they show them here. They might show them nothing.
Back to pass Connolly, flares it out to the sideline where it is complete at the 41-yard line.
Nice diving catch there by the Tewksbury.
Kyle Zervis, co-captain, in the catch.
Really, really nice play. Conley led him a little further than he expected to, and Kyle Zervis made a very nice diving catch there.
A lot of nice commentary in this week's Town Crier on Kyle Zervis. Not the biggest guy in the field, but certainly one of the toughest people to deal with out there. 2 setbacks behind Connolly. Handoff right up the middle to Kelly. Looks like he stopped just shy of the first down again. So it's going to be 3rd and less than a yard. We'll see what Coach Elwood decides to do here. Looks like he's 4th down. 4th down and less than a yard. My mouth is getting ahead of my brain. So Tewksbury's going to go for it. 4th and 1. Kelly out to the right. Direct snap, and it looks like he might have enough for a first down.
It's going to be a first down, but now we're going to see where they mark this, spot that ball. And they're going to move the chains. First down, Tewksbury. Another bad series of downs there for the Wildcats. That catch by their senior captain Service was very important in that play.
So Tewksbury still in the drive at the 43-yard line. Full backfield for Tewksbury. Fakes the handoff inside. Handoff goes to Kyle Zervis again, who's stopped for a gain of about 5 yards.
And if they get into the second level, which Pete Marino had to make the tackle there, if they get into the second level, they're going to be very dangerous. So it's important for our defensive line to maintain pressure to keep those running backs from entering into the second level, where the linebackers and the secondary have to make defensive plays.
Kelly goes in motion, pitches back to Alward, who stopped for no gain on the play. Nice tackle on the far sideline. Looked like Venezia on the tackle, number 25, which kind of confirms that is him in number 25.
And again, nice play there by the defensive ends and linebackers to string that play along and not let them get into space, like I said, into the second level. So big third down here, because I would imagine that Tewksbury with a 22-0 lead, this is 4-down territory.
Now Connolly is alone in the backfield with 5 receivers split out. Pass is complete to Alwood, who slips on the turf, and he's brought down for a loss at the 45-yard line of Tewksbury.
Christian Robarge was there, though. He had swung out, and they had one blocker in front, but Robarge was alone, would have been alone with Alwood, and he might punt here. Yep, he is going to punt. So he's got a 4th and 7. He decides to punt, so Wilmington will...
Co-captain and quarterback and kicker Jay Connolly stands at his own 37-yard line. He gets the ball away. Ball bounces at the 30, inside the 25. Looks like it's getting a little slippery underfoot down there. One of the Tewksbury defenders kind of tripped a little at the end. I don't know if there's a little bit of moisture on the field from the weather last night.
Or when you play in like 0-degree weather,
I guess
your feet get a little bit numb maybe, and you fall over top of yourself. I mean, it's not ideal playing conditions for either team here today. Tewksbury out to the 22-0 lead. But that is a very good defensive stop for the Wildcats. Just one first down and force them to punt. So turning the ball back over to the Cats. Let's see what we can do offensively. See if they can open up some holes for Marino or successfully throw some short passes.
So Marquardt split out wide to the right. Looks like Benoit wide to the left. Sullivan keeps the ball. Inside handoff to... I think it's number 28, Peter Diadamo again.
Diadamo carries for a gain of 6.
So again, structuring and Coach Turner getting his younger players opportunities here. So Diadamo will be back. He's a sophomore, so he will have an opportunity to come back.
Good gain, second and about a little over 3 for the Wildcats.
So we're down to 3 minutes to play here in the half.
Once again, Venezia in the backfield with Marino. Sullivan hands off to Marino, who stopped for a loss on the play. Good gang tackling by Tewksbury. Kyle DeRigo finished them off for a loss of about 2 or 3.
And again, there's a situation where Tewksbury's defensive penetration gets their defensive lineman into the backfield, and there's absolutely no room for Marino to run. Seems to be the case every other game here when we play defenses that are big and strong. They get in the backfield, and we just can't get any space for Marino and or any of our running backs to run.
Marquardt split wide to the right. Once again, Sullivan keeps the ball, pitches back. Another fumble. Luckily, it's grabbed by Connor Benoit, who is stopped at the 28-yard line. Ball bounced off the hands of Peter Marino, but Benoit was alert enough to grab it.
Well, it looks a little shaken up too on that play. Something with that right arm, which
playing with bum shoulder and arm anyway, so hopefully he's not done for the day. Brings up punt formation for the Wildcats, 4th and 6. 2 minutes to go in the first half.
But a really good heads-up play there by Benoit. He was in the right place at the right time, falls on the ball. The pitch was at the right. Sullivan pitched at the right time, but a little bit on the back shoulder of Marino, so it bounced off his back shoulder pad. Again, with this cold weather, it's tough to execute properly.
So again, Robarge into punt, a good end-over-end kick, taken by Alwood at a 42. He's got some running room out to the right, picks up some blockers. He's up to midfield, cuts back, and he's continuing down to the 42-yard line of the Wildcats, where he's finally brought down. It's like Clerico in the tackle. And Smolinski, I believe, Steve Smolinski, another sophomore.
So about a 20-yard return, really patient return by the Tewksbury coach's son. He picked the ball up at about the 40. I think it looks like about 18-yard return. Really comfortable with catching it and finding space. He got a good block to start the run, and then got the edge a little bit. And Tewksbury will start in positive territory once again. Same thing with the little bit of a different set this down now than they had shown in the last series of offense.
Connolly hands off to Alward, sprints out to the left, cuts back, goes across the 30, down to the 25, inside the 15, and
he fumbled.
Fumble into play, and looks like the Wildcats may have it back.
I'll tell you, Thanksgiving at that household this afternoon, the Alwood household, is not going to be too friendly, because I'm sure the coach is going to remind his son there, you know, you got a little bit nonchalant as he ran, turned the corner. He slowed the play down instead of going hard. And once he slowed the play down, Wilmington got their hands and forced the fumble. So even though Tewksbury is on a nice lead with 22-0, I think Mr. Alwood is going to hear from his dad and maybe even his older brother about not so much being as nonchalant when you run the football. Good play by the Wilmington defense.
I think Steve Anthony in on the fumble recovery. The Wildcats are going to take over the ball at the 14-yard line with just a little over a minute to go in the first half. See, Connor Benoit still flexing that right shoulder. It looks like he's still hurting there. Sullivan back to pass. Lets it go and over the head of Peter Marino.
Again, a good idea offensively, Coach Turner there, to try to get Marino the ball in space. That time they went left instead of right. Sullivan, being a right-handed thrower, has to throw that ball across his body, and the wind took that a little bit over Pete. Maybe it was good because the defender was right with him. But again, Coach Turner looking to try to open up the game just a hair bit, get some space, maybe score some points here before the half ends. Would not be shocked to see 2 runs here to try to let the clock run down to keep the ball on the Tewksbury.
I don't know what we're going to have for a halftime show today. No, the Wilmington band, as I mentioned, is not here because of the cold and the instruments have frozen up. The Tewksbury band director also indicated that their instruments have frozen up, so we'll see what happens. Sullivan back to pass, incomplete, intended for Robarge on the far sideline. Good coverage on the play.
Nice hit there, too, defensively. Not a bad play call there. If Sullivan gets that ball down a little bit, it looks like it's sailing on him going that way.
Alwood redeemed himself on that, broke up the pass, brings up 3rd and 10.
For Tewksbury now, it's going to be keeping as healthy as they can, as they will be playing in a week from Saturday in the Super Bowl, in the championship, state championship down at Gillette Stadium.
Okay, Marquardt and Benoit to the right. Robarge on the split on the far left. Sullivan back to pass. Pressure's coming. He runs, and he's taken down for loss at the 10-yard line. Couldn't get away. The defensive line overwhelming the Wildcat offensive line.
Was there a timeout called there? So Tewksbury calls timeout with 55 seconds left, up 22-0 in a game that is definitely not going the Wildcats' way. I hate to pick on other coaches, but it is 16 degrees out, and you know, so be it.
Justin Lester and Mike Woodford from the Tewksbury defensive line in the last tackle of Sullivan. Actually, Robarge is not back very far on this punt. Another low liner. Taken by Alwood at the 37. Tries to get some running room to the left. Takes it down inside the 30 to the 28, 29-yard line. Taken down by Bailey Smith and Joe DeMonico.
Once again, nonchalant with that return. He made the return. He slows himself down. He's looking for a hole instead of just trying to get the most yards that you can. Maybe that's the way that Tewksbury decides to play it.
Devin Clerico comes out of the ball game. Senior wide receiver and defensive back with a leg injury. Hobbles over to the sideline. So once again, the injury-strapped Wildcats continue to lose ball players here.
Yes, it's been a tough. It's been a war of attrition for the last couple of weeks for the Wildcats.
Kelly and Elwood in the backfield behind Connolly. Back to pass. Connolly looks downfield, throws it complete. On the sideline, far sideline, good coverage by Marino, knocks the ball carrier out at the 20-yard line.
That was a nice throw there, too. Connolly with a really good strong arm.
Josh Segru was the receiver on that. Another nice story. Josh was out all of last season for the Redmen due to a car accident before the season even started, and fought very hard to get back. Made a big catch for a touchdown last week in the playoff game against Tewksbury, so I'm sure he's thrilled to death to be here in the football field this morning.
So we have Devin Clerico coming to the trainer's spot. Senior, number 26, got hurt on that last offensive play. or maybe on the last punt.
The coaching staff did want me to mention at some point that Melanie Batchelor, the trainer, has been extremely helpful to them this year. Again, with all the injuries that have piled up, she's been a lifesaver for them, and they wanted me to give her some special recognition for what she's accomplished to keep these kids on the field this year.
And speaking from experience as a parent, Melanie did a really good job when my son got hurt playing baseball last year. So I have nothing but really good words to say about her. She does a phenomenal job, and hopefully her future is very bright.
So there's 3 wide receivers out to the left, 1 on the right. Connolly back to pass, sprints out. Good blocking. He keeps the ball. He makes the corner, and he runs out of bounds at the 20 for no gain.
Okay, so the Wildcats put stiff defense up there as the Redmen are trying to throw the ball.
Good pursuit by Tyler Thomas.
So it'll be important here. Let's see if we can keep them off the board with 23 seconds left. 2nd and 12.
Connolly had a couple of blockers out in front. Thomas fought his way through and forced him out of bounds. So good play by him for a loss of a couple of yards. 2nd and 12, and it's back to the 21-yard line now. Kelly alone in the backfield now. Man in motion. Kyle Zervis goes to the right. Back to pass. Connolly lets the ball go, and it's caught. Complete to Shane Elwood on the far sideline. Goes out of bounds.
So it looks like it'll be 3rd down. Again, Tewksbury might be working on just some basic offense here for next week. But, again, a good opportunity for the Wilmington defense to stand up and keep the Redmen off the board as we got 3rd and about 5 from the 14-yard line. It looks like about 16 seconds left to play on the clock.
Halftime today, we'll have a few more interviews, commentary from some of the fall sports captains. Connolly once again back to pass. Good pressure by the Wildcats. Ball's let go downfield. It's complete for a touchdown. Number 80, Connor Brinklow in the end zone for the Redmen again.
Again, just like the last long pass that they completed over the middle, the receiver for the Redmen found a spot, got to it, and Conley made a really nice pass as we hit 28-0 with about 9 seconds left to play here in the half.
You know, even though we broadcast for Wilmington High School football, you have to admire year after year Tewksbury and their very multifaceted offense. This is another kick good by Keogh from the extra point. And just before halftime, we're sitting at Tewksbury 29, Wilmington nothing. Always a few wrinkles that you don't see from year to year, and it carries on a tradition from not only Brian Elwood's dad, but many years before that, just a series of coaches and great athletes coming out of Tewksbury High School.
So it looks like we'll have a kickoff here, maybe one play before we go to the half. Like I said, not the most ideal weather conditions to be a spectator here at Alumni Field, but not a bad crowd for the weather. I'm sure we'll see an exodus at the half. Most people going home to get ready to eat.
I see down on the trainer's cart, Jordan Olatalo has joined Devin Clerico. So it looks like their Thanksgiving Day may be wrapped up today. Both of them were hobbling along earlier. We already know we're a little short-handed with Benoit fighting off an injury.
Again, like the coach said earlier, it gives some, with the injuries, you do get opportunities from your freshman and sophomore to play.
Kick downfield is a squibber, and it's loose on the field, and Tewksbury's got it back again on a muffed squib kick down the field. So my guess here is Brian Elwood may be satisfied to just let the ball.
They're going to call the half on that play.
All right, so we're at halftime of today's Thanksgiving Day football game on Wilmington Community Television. At halftime, Tewksbury Redmen 29, Wilmington Wildcats nothing. We'll be back for the second half in a few minutes. Join us then, and we'll enjoy these interviews. And we also want to remind you, we want to thank the Alliant Credit Union for sponsoring this season of Wildcat football.
Okay, cut it.
WCTV's coverage of Wildcat football this fall is sponsored by Align Credit Union. Not only focused on personal and business banking, Align is a community credit union participating in events throughout the region. Located next to Lucci's and also at aligncu.com. Align Credit Union, connecting all your banking needs.
Wildcat seniors. First of all, Gianna Bernetto. Gianna plays volleyball and softball. She hopes to attend UNH or Roger Williams University and study criminal psychology. Speaking on behalf of Gianna are Anna and Kylie.
Gianna will be accompanied by her parents Mike and Teresa Brunetto. She is planning on majoring in criminal psychology and hopes to attend either Roger Williams or UNH next fall. Gianna was right side at the beginning of this year, but was asked to step up as middle hitter when Sam got injured and couldn't have done a better job. Over the past 3 years of playing volleyball with Gianna, we very quickly became friends. I am extremely grateful to have been able to play with her and learn from her for the past 2 years. Practices won't be the same next year without us stopping the whole time. Thank you for the endless amount of lives and rides. Wouldn't have gone anywhere without you. I am happy to call you my teammate and my friends. Glad I could read this with my 2020 vision. Love you.
What a season it's been, full of good vibrations. I don't think there was a time when we weren't dancing, singing, or laughing until we couldn't breathe. This season, we became closer friends, and you're definitely someone I looked up to. Not only are you an incredible player, but you're one of the only people who we can count on to keep our spirits up and smiles on our faces. I can't put a number on the amount of inside jokes we have because of this season alone, and I don't know if I could have as much fun next year without you. You have us laughing to the point where we're in tears on and off the court, and playing beside you is something I'll never forget. Thank you for not only being a great teammate, but an even greater friend. This team will never be the same without you. As for next year, we'll miss you easily.
Okay. Next, I'd like to introduce Gabby Bond. Gabby is captain on volleyball as well as basketball. She hopes to attend UConn, UMass Amherst, or Springfield College and study biology or pre-med track. Introducing Gabby are Reagan and Maeve.
First of all, we would like to thank all the seniors for making the season so much fun. We'll be lost without you next year. Gabby Bond is being escorted by her parents, Lonnie and Maria Bond. Gabriella Amelia Bond, thank you for being there for me since day one. You have been my sophomore, the one I look up to for anything, and still do, and such a brilliant role model. We have had so many laughs together, and you've driven me every single place I could imagine. You have also driven me crazy, because since we're the same exact person on and off the court, you have always reassured me when I had my bad days and told me to keep fighting through and always had my back. From early morning captain practices to late night runs to McDonald's, you have always been by my side and I don't want you to leave me hanging. You have kept me sane for the past 3 years and by keep cheering me on and keeping me from getting inside my head. And even though we are so much alike in so many different ways, next season will not be the same no matter what happens.
Even though me and Gabby joke around and mess with each other a lot, I honestly have no idea what I'd do without her. I've never played a season of Wilmington volleyball without Gabby by my side. Freshman year, she took me under her wing and looked out for me, and she's never stopped doing it. Gabby would do anything for anyone, and little did I know freshman year that she'd become one of my very best friends. Even though we've made so many memories over the years, I don't know what I would have done these past seasons without you. Gonna miss you unbelievably next year. It's gonna be hard and weird to look next to me on the court and not see you trying to pump me up and make me laugh. Love you, Gab. I have no doubt you're going to kill it in college. Thank you for everything, for some of the best memories and laughs of my life. You've always been by my side, and I know that will never change. We love you, Gab. Thank you for everything.
And finally, I'd like to introduce Brittany Simaglia. Also a co-captain, Brittany plays volleyball and she hopes to attend Salem State, Worcester State, or UMass Boston and study general psychology. Introducing our student
Brittany Simaglia is with her parents Marion and Lou, and she'll be majoring in psychology in college. I came into this volleyball program my freshman year and felt intimidated by the girls on the varsity court. I didn't know any of them, only a handful of juniors, but I truly didn't know them. But I was extremely impressed by that sophomore in varsity, who again I didn't know. My sophomore year, I was lucky enough to make the varsity squad, and I made so many new friends and memories. One of those friends was Britt. Brittany was one of our setters, a force of nature on the court with a powerful swing. Again, I felt intimidated, but Britt befriended me and it helped me feel welcome in such a foreign territory. This year, Britt absolutely excelled in the position of setter, as well as one of our fearless captains. She always knows what to say, on and off the court, and when she's not talking, her firm high five at the net translates to an empowering, "You got this." No one on the team can pass, push, tip, hit, or kill a ball over the net without you, Britt. And that deserves so many thanks. Thank you for being our setter, Britt. Despite statistics, thank you for making the season such a success. Thank you for having that weird chair in your backyard so I could sit in it and fall out of it. That was fun. Thank you, Britt's parents, for coming to almost all of our games and taking well-timed videos. Thank you, Britt, for hustling full effort at every ball and every play and throwing yourself onto the ground, then getting up really slowly so we think you're injured, but you never are. You're always fine. I don't know how. Thank you for leading our team as you did. As one of the 3 captains for next year, I think you set a very high standard for the likes of captaincy, and I don't know how Reagan, Maeve, and I will pull it off. You're an inspiration, Britt, on and off the court. Thank you for being our setter, but most importantly, thank you for being my friend. We love you and we're gonna miss you.
Back to today's WCTV coverage of the 2018 Thanksgiving Day football game. Today, the Wildcats and the Tewksbury Redmen were at halftime. Tewksbury has jumped out to a 29-0 halftime lead, and Tewksbury will be receiving the ball for the second half kickoff. Jim, pretty one-sided so far today.
Oh, it has been. They 2 turnovers that they scored on 2 turnovers. First of all, they've had 2 a short drive to end the half, and Tewksbury's had a long drive to start the half. So they sandwiched 2 drives for touchdowns with 2 turnovers for touchdowns as well. I think right now it's going to be imperative that you say to your kids right now, listen, for my seniors, this is your last 20 minutes of football. Most of them are going to play for the rest of their lives, tackle football like this. Let's go out, have a good time, try to put numbers on the board, and see what we can do. For the underclassmen, see if you can, what can we do? What can we do to make things a little bit better? There's always going to be next year. Maybe we can use this as a building block. So one thing I will say is I thought the defense played much better against Tewksbury after that first drive, that last short drive where they called about 6 timeouts with no time left on the clock. It sort of hurt them on the short field, but they had done a pretty good job though, defensively slowing them down. The 2 turnovers really hurt.
Tewksbury will be in the Division III Super Bowl next Saturday night, 6 o'clock, Gillette Stadium against Springfield Central. I don't know how many years in a row they've been in the Super Bowl, but always a consistent team. So for the Wildcats, Kyle Bishop.
With his first kickoff.
I'm sorry, did it again. Adam Bishop kicking off for the Wildcats.
Kyle Bishop's my neighbor, by the way.
Squib kick down to the 30-yard line is kicked, and it's recovered at the 29-yard line by one of the Tewksbury upbacks, Kyle Dorigo, in on the ball. So the Redmen start off 1st and 10 out at the 31 1 yard line, 30-yard line.
You know, and on that muff kick, number 20, Kyle Valley, made a good hustle play. That's what you want to see out of these kids. How they continue to play hard, or they continue to hustle. And there you almost had an opportunity for a turnover on the muff. Because of the cold weather, it's hard to catch the ball.
Connolly behind center. Hand off to Alwood, who sprints to the left. Finds some running room out to the 36-yard line. Brought down after a gain of 6.
Nick Coleman, a 74 senior there, had an opportunity to make a tackle, did slow that down. It was a nice play by the interior lineman, Nick Coleman, who is number 74. And again, as I said, these are seniors playing the last game. Is that 73? I'm sorry, Nick, I made a mistake.
Handoff this time right up the middle. Good stop on the play. Trying to get a number in the middle of the pack there for the Wildcats. Pretty sure it was Nick Coleman on the tackle on that. So
either Coleman or McAndrew did a good job stuffing that play. Again, another opportunity would be got to be ready for anything when you're playing Tewksbury. So see if our defense can make a few. Like I said, see if they can build on this a little bit, make some stops. You know, finish off your career with on a positive note.
3rd and 3 for the Redmen. Kelly in motion, pitch back to DeRigo, who finds running room up for a first down over the 40 to the 42-yard line.
Good quick pitch there. And Wildcats strung that out a little bit, but again, they needed short yardage and they converted. It'll be
Okay, Kelly alone in the backfield now with Connolly. Man in motion, DeRigo. Handoff as he cuts back across the right side, taken down over midfield, almost to the 41-yard line. Tackle on the play by Tristan Champer, who came up to make the tackle.
Again, there, Tewksbury using the big bodies up front to open up holes on that quick pitch. So they go left, they go right. Again, I would expect a very basic offense here with the 29-0 lead. They do have the, if you want to say any advantage with the wind, it would be going this way.
Connolly hands off to Elward, who sweeps to the left, finds open running room down the sideline to the 20, 10, and in for a touchdown. 46-yard touchdown run by Shane Elward.
And he hit that hole virtually untouched through the hole in for the touchdown. Probably about a 40-yard touchdown scamper there to take the lead of 35-0.
As seamless as Tewksbury's offense has been functioning today, I know the only loss they had was to North Andover, and North Andover was also going to Super Bowl next week. Hard to believe anybody would have put anything over on this team that's playing out here today in front of us.
As they continue their Thanksgiving dominance, I think they've won 8 in a row. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Wilmington's
offside, and the kick is no good, but there's a penalty marker in the play. So I think this will be a re-kick for the Redmen.
The left side of the offensive, the defensive left side there jumped offside. So we'll re-kick from here, a little bit closer distance. Look, in order to win championships, you got to have a good kicking game, good special teams. Tewksbury has shown that today.
Okay, single point conversion again for Keogh. The kick this time is up and good. And with 7:29 to go in the third quarter, Tewksbury's jumped out to a 36-0 lead.
So now it'll be imperative for the Wildcats to handle the kickoff, try to get some good field position, and see if we can run some semblance of offense. And be interesting to see the scheme that Tewksbury looks to run here defensively and offensively. Is how long does Coach Alwood stay with his starting unit, and whether or not they our offense can generate some semblance of movement and get some space open for Marino.
He's got a lot of his younger players in on the kick coverage team anyway.
Yep.
So once again, DeMonico and Diadamo back deep for the Wildcats, standing at the 20-yard line. Keogh steps into it. Once again, it goes to DeMonico, who gets it at the 20. Runs a little north-south to the 25 and down to the 27-yard line, where the Wildcats will take over 1st and 10. Weather is still chilly out. We tested it at halftime, and we decided inside the booth is still a better place to be than outside, Jim.
That's correct, and thank to all our camera people out there in the brutal cold, as we've seen the wind now kick up to 21 miles per hour. It's still telling me the feels like temperatures a balmy 0 here.
Marty McHugh is down in front of us with the game camera. George Breslin and Tom Pizarro are down on the field taking turns with the field camera. Hand off to Marino to the left, cuts back, finds some good running room, taken down after a gain of 7 yards. Taken down at the 34-yard line.
So 42, Peter Marino, another one of our seniors who will be completing his, concluding his high school career here with the Wildcats. Peter, I think, got his first action as a sophomore. Played sparingly behind John Kenny last year as a running back and has been the featured back all year long for the Wildcats this year. I know that he's chunked yards up in this year, and he's been a very valuable member of this football team. They're going to ride his
Hand off to Marino then, and he climbs out over the 40-yard line for a first down for the Wildcats. Haven't been too many of them today for Wilmington.
I think you continue to go with what's working for you, and with your offensive line, keep the pressure on.
Coach Brian Elward is starting to rotate out some of his starters with some replacements along the defensive line. Once again, Marino solo setback in the backfield. Handoff again up the middle. Finds running room again. They're unable to bring him down. Gains 5 yards.
Good hard running by Mr. Marino there. He was met probably about with a 1 yard gain and a little bit of a spin move and picked up an extra 4 yards there.
Out to the 48-yard line of the Wildcats. Wildcats have not been in Tewksbury territory, I think, but once today.
Well, we're about to be twice. I got a good feeling about this. We're at the 48-yard line. We got a 2nd and 4. Marino here going to take this ball into the
And if nothing else, we're chewing up some clock, which is not a bad thing today. 4 wide receivers out. Sullivan back to pass. Lets the ball go deep downfield. Man is open, and it's intercepted by Tewksbury. Intended for Marquardt. Jason Marquardt over at the 27-yard line. He had position on the ball, but I think the wind took it at the last moment, and it was intercepted by, I couldn't make out which Tewksbury, a defensive back, grabbed it, but Tewksbury, once again, we did not get into Tewksbury territory.
That's true. I was wrong.
I think
maybe one of the few times I'll be wrong today. Until I go home, and then I'll be wrong every time I say anything.
So we're Redmond have the ball at the 27-yard line.
Kelly, if you're watching that, you know who I'm talking about. This again, Marquardt, 84. Jason Marquardt, another one of our seniors, playing his final game here for the Wildcats. That ball did stay a little bit on Andrew Sullivan, number 3, another one of our seniors, playing his final game here for the Wildcats as well. A lot of these seniors played together up through Pop Warner. I do know they mentioned in the pregame that they had won a championship in Pop Warner, one of their fondest football memories.
Handoff up the middle, tough running room, and he gains about 6 or 7 yards, the second running back through. I think it was Dorigo on the carry.
And I think you're going to see them just try to, again, pound and pound and pound as we have 4 or 5 minutes left to play here in the quarter. You know, the two other seniors to mention here I don't see on the field. One I know is out is Kyle Kenyon, 81. Again, Kenyon's played a long career, and I see Connor Benoit, number 9, standing here on the sidelines as well. Don't know, Connor had hurt his shoulder, so he might not get to play again. So there's 2 more seniors. I know we have 13 seniors.
Hand off to the second man through, big running room, number 45. We'll have to go to our Kalu Olu. First carry of the game for Tewksbury.
That is one big boy. I think he's a sophomore.
He is just a sophomore. That's
correct.
correct.
One big boy coming out of the backfield. I think Tewksbury's future also probably looks pretty bright too.
DeRigo's an underclassman. He's also only a sophomore. So yeah.
Yeah, he just keeps churning out good football players. Something Wilmington's going to try to do now is Coach Turner's, they've initiated a middle school team. Hopefully that middle school team will help to be a feeder for them to keep kids here within Wilmington to get them ready to play at the high school level.
Cameron Semino, I think number 38 in at the fullback position. Man in motion. 87 is Owen Gilligan. Handoff up the middle.
He is a big boy, that 45.
Actually, Ryan Remetta is come in at quarterback for Tewksbury now, as Brian Elwood is taking starting quarterback Jay Connolly out of the game.
And now it's his opportunity to get some of his younger kids some playing time, get his starting unit some rest as they get ready for next week. As we continue to go down the list, we'll do 2 more seniors after this play.
Ramella hands off. Number 23, Tyler Keogh, sprints out to the left. Enough for a first down over the 40, down into the 39-yard line. Redmond continue to drive. Just under 3 minutes to go in the third quarter.
2 other seniors that are currently out there playing defensive line for the Wildcats. Number 73, who is Nick Coleman, and number 77, Tyler Thomas. They'll again playing their final game here in their illustrious Wildcat career, so they'll take that Wildcat uniform off for the last time. Thanksgiving's a fun day to play, but it's also an interesting day for a senior. The majority of guys who play high school football don't move on to play any football at the next level. So for, like I said, probably 95 to 100% of these kids, this is going to be the last time these seniors will be on the field in the blue uniform with the shoulder pads and the helmets, and as they go forward into college, maybe play some touch or flag football, and hopefully continue on their athletic careers.
Got a timeout in the field called by Wilmington. 2:47 to go in the third quarter. Once again, we do want to try to get some coverage of the winter athletic events at the high school, especially boys and girls basketball, boys and girls hockey. My co-partner here, Jim Boyle, will be calling the basketball season for the boys.
Boys, right? Larry Gordon will be calling for the girls.
Larry Gordon doing the girls. If you'd like to help out, participate in the broadcast, showcase the kids, call 978-657-4066. We'll get you set up. Flare pass out to the left is complete. Number 24, Brandon Pote for Tewksbury, wide receiver. 6-yard gain brings the ball down to the 34-yard line.
And that defensive play was made by another senior out there on defense, Stephen Anthony, number 24. Stephen Anthony with a nice tackle there. He's had a pretty good year this year as well, playing defensive back and wide receiver. Another senior, I don't know if he's out in the field right now, number 26, Devin Clerico, senior wide receiver and defensive back. He's out with a knee, okay. So Devin is again, he has already played his final game. It was a Wildcat.
Remetta, another handoff up the middle. This time the running back is stopped. Looks like Cam Semino, fullback.
Tackle made by our favorite player, number 25. Jared Venenzi, who switched numbers on us.
Make that Pat Fleming, the fullback, on the carry there, number 48.
Big third down here for the Wildcats. See if we can make a stop again. It'll be 2-down territory for the second unit of Tewksbury. And as we run down to a minute left here to play, let's just go down my list. We have number 1, Jordan Olatalo, I think was injured earlier in the game. He's another senior playing. Another guy, number 18, Colin Rooney. And can't forget number 36, Adam Bishop, the kicker. And number 52, Christopher Medeiros.
Inside handoff goes for first down and then more. Tyler Keogh is into the end zone with another Redmond touchdown.
A little bit of sloppy tackling there in that play by the Wildcat, the secondary. But again, it is imperative that if they get to the second unit, this Tewksbury team is very dynamic, got good speed. But again, a lot of arm tackling there and missed tackles as we get to the end of the quarter here with the 42-0 lead. It's sort of like it gets to be a dejection city for the Wildcat players.
Key will be back next year, not only as the kicker, but obviously as one of their fleet of running backs. One inside left tackle and then cut back across the field to the right. And after the first 10 yards or so, he was relatively untouched into the end zone. So now he turns around for another extra point. Alward once again in to hold. And once again, the kick is up, and it is good. And with a minute to go in the third quarter, Tewksbury has now jumped out to a 43-0 lead here on Thanksgiving Day 2018.
Would have to imagine this is not a total shock to anybody who knows how these two teams have been playing this year. Again, Tewksbury, like we've mentioned over and over again, has gone 10-1 and will play in the Super Bowl down in for the state championship down in at Gillette next Saturday at 6 p.m. versus Springfield Cathedral.
Central.
Wow. Springfield Central. You're right. I'm wrong. There is Cathedral, but it's a different school. So Springfield Central, and then you have the Wildcats who are coming with a 5-game losing streak. And each week they've had to play bigger and bigger teams throughout the non-playoff portion of their program. So there are some positives you can take forward. There was the big game by Pete Marino back against Watertown. There were a few other really good defensive performances early against Bedford and the Shawsheen Tech. So, as we close out this third quarter and we get ready to close out the
kick downfield is handled by DeMonico to the 25 to the 30, out to the 35 and across, and he's finally brought down at the 40-yard line. Good return by Joe DeMonico on the far sideline.
Yep, and again, they've done a much better job this week on their kick return. They're not fumbling balls around. They're aggressive in picking them up and running, and giving themselves relatively good field position.
And it looks like the clock is off by 48 seconds. Are we just going to have a timeout here? No, the ball's changing ends, so we're at the end of the third quarter. And as we go into the fourth quarter, we'll take a look at some of the other Wildcat Achievement Awards that were given out during the course of the season. We'll be back for the fourth quarter action right after this.
Now we would like to honor the 10 seniors from Wilmington. Number 2, Haley Collins, accompanied by her parents, Anna and John. Number 3, Kayla Burrell, accompanied by her parents, Lisa and Dennis, and sister Casey. Number 4, Captain Tori Sheehan, accompanied by her mom, Ellen. Number 5, Captain Cassidy Collins, accompanied by her parents, Kristen and Chris. Number 6, Alyssa Bernazzani, accompanied by her parents, Carmelina and Chris. Number 7, Jocelyn Palmer, accompanied by her mom, Alicia, her grandparents, Jane and Bob, her sister Brienne, and her brother, Ian. 12, Olivia Rourke, accompanied by her mom, Sandy. Number 17, Gina Mastorelli, accompanied by her parents, Pat and Lisa. Number 18, Jessie Wargo, accompanied by her parents, Catherine and Kevin. And number 22, Captain Thea Alberti, accompanied by her parents, Tracy and Chris. Best of luck to Wakefield and Wilmington seniors in the years ahead.
Okay, we're back for fourth quarter action. Thanksgiving morning. Still morning, I think, even though it feels like the end of the day. Sullivan's still at quarterback for the Wildcats. Hand off to Marino. Cuts off left tackle, and he's stopped by a gang of Tewksbury tacklers.
Oh. That one didn't feel too good for Mr. Marino Jr. there. That'll be, it's slammed down into the hard turf. Looks like a left shoulder.
Loss of about 2 yards. As the injury bug continues to bite the Wildcats.
Another player to talk to the trainer. You're not looking happy as he comes off.
Kyle Valley comes in at the running back position.
Timeout Wilmington as they got a little confused as Marino came out of the game.
Looks like Coach Turner is taking a few bodies off the bench too and put them into the lineup to get some experience, game experience. Andy Sullivan stays in there.
And they have Venenzi now on the sidelines too. He looks like he's okay though. Our famous number 55 turned into 25 so he could become a running back.
Gavin Erickson in wide receiver, number 6. Back to pass, it's incomplete. Intended for Erickson, who had the ball in his hands but popped out when he got hit by the tackler. So second down and 10 for the Wildcats.
That's the best ball that Sullivan's thrown today. He did a nice job, got the ball right where it was. The hit knocked the ball away from the young receiver. Again, Erickson, a freshman wide receiver, defensive back. So a good opportunity for these kids to get some playing time here on Thanksgiving before they go home and eat turkey.
Take the man in motion, and this one also incomplete. Intended for Mizuraka on the far sideline, freshman number 40.
And they'll bring up another fourth down for the Wildcats.
Sullivan's pass ball is incomplete. Intended for Mizuraka, broken up by Tewksbury's number 7.
See if the coach will go. The coach looks like he's going to go for it. He's going to punt here. It's fourth down on the 40. I guess with the score 43-0, they score another 7 or 8. It's not going to really matter. Towards the end, 50-0, 43-0 will be just a matter of the differential between the two teams as we go forward.
So Wildcats will go for it on 4th and 10 at their own 40-yard line. Game out of hand anyway. Sullivan back to pass. Scrambles out to the right. Tries to find some running room, and he throws the ball away.
Yeah, that's all he had to do. All he had was either that or get croaked. And again, with his senior buddy Marino getting drilled, I think Andrew decided that it's better to be healthy than to be a hero and just dump that ball away as we'll turn the ball over on downs.
So the Redmen take over at the Wildcat 40-yard line, 8:52 to go in the game. 43-0 Tewksbury. Crowd is thinned out considerably from an inauspicious crowd to start with. Not too many people here today because of the cold temperatures, but I would say maybe still a couple of hundred people either in the stands or along the sidelines.
Yes, and this just all but guarantees next year at Tewksbury it'll be like 90 degrees because that's just the way it goes.
Ryan Remetta, inside handoff to Olu. I'm going to get that right for next year's game anyway.
Yeah,
Olu. O-L-U.
He's a beast.
Olu. I like the name, though.
I see our cameramen on the field are still active there, George and Tom, which is good as we get good shots from down low. Not that this is one that we want to put in the memory books or we're going to put in the file or we're going to put on the classics, but at least we're getting good coverage. And when these kids are about my age, which is probably a long time from now, they can look back on the broadcast and at least see themselves, see how they played football. At least they competed against Tewksbury. Have to give a shout out also to our cheerleaders who are now huddled down down below there, and they have been here all game, and now they're probably starting to.
Remetta handoff. Once again, good running room down the right, off the right tackle. Gain of about 5 or 6 yards, just shy of the 30-yard line.
And again, as we mentioned, seniors, we do have one senior cheerleader, Chloe McCauley, who is a senior cheerleader down there somewhere, amongst the cheerleaders trying to stay warm. And we would be remiss not to mention Ryan Woolman, manager, number 22, standing down there on the sidelines, who's been a manager here at Tewksbury, at Wilmington for a long time, and he will also be leaving the program. He's done a lot to help out. Just a good kid to have around your program. So third and short here, Chris. What do you think they'll do?
Clock is running. I think they're going to run.
They run the big guy.
Handoff, but good for the first down. Gain of about 3. That was to number 27, Sean Fahey.
Sean Fahey carries for Tewksbury. First down.
So first and 10 for the Redmen, down to the 28-yard line of the Wildcats. Brandon Tang in at the wide receiver position. He's a senior. Inside handoff, and that's snuffed out by Bailey Smith, number 43 for the Wildcats, a junior. Big tackle, loss of about 4 yards on the play there.
Inochi tackle in the backfield by Wilmington's Bailey Smith. Loss of 3 on the play. Second and 13.
So we'll see if Wildcats can put a little bit more defensive pressure against the secondary, second-string Tewksbury offensive line and keep the Redmen out of the end zone again. 43-0, 6 minutes to go in the game. Clock is ticking. Second and 14. Handoff again and again and stopped in the backfield, this time by Jared Venesia.
So it's things you like to see. The kids are still playing hard. You know, I know they get beat up a little bit here, and it's a tough way to end your season. But you want us to continue. You got to look at your film and say, you know, you can sit in film session next year and show this game and say, Jared, this is what we like to see. You playing hard as you play hard to the end of the game. I know you've been through a tough stretch with injuries, and now you got these underclassmen playing and hopefully performing well.
Okay, third and about 20 for the Redmen. Ball is back at the 36-yard line. Remetta, handoff again, and for the third down in a row, the Wildcats stuff them in the backfield. I mean, the Wildcats look good on that series, but the reality is I think Coach Elwood has called off the dogs here, and Wildcats can sit back and just concentrate on the run.
That is correct.
And they're doing with a second-string offensive line. But
which would that is what you would expect going forward. But again, it is 43-0, so it's pretty easy to call off the dogs at this moment. Again, staying healthy now would be Tewksbury's main concern, as they got another week of practice before they play again.
I know there's a lot of respect here between Craig Turner and Brian Elwood as coaches. They've played against each other, coached against each other for many years. And this is the second year of the rivalry here on Thanksgiving Day for the two of them. Tewksbury is going to kick it away in a hooch kick, which is going to go out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Remetta was in a shotgun formation and just booted the ball downfield to give them a little bit better field position.
Not a bad idea there by Tewksbury. The little pooch kick, get the offense back on the field. Sullivan coming out maybe for his final time. I know I see Marino on the bench, so we won't see him. Connor Benoit is also sitting on the sideline. It says so 3 of the 4 senior captains are not in here to finish the game due to injury. That would be Benoit, Marino, and Kyle Kenyon, with Andrew Sullivan here to most likely quarterback this final series of his Wildcat career. Inside handoff.
Good running room for
28.
Peter Diadamo on the cross from the wide receiver position.
Looks like going to have Bailey Smith come in for a series here on offense as well, 43.
Kyle Valley comes off the field.
We said Bailey missed a game or two with the injured hand. And he will be back next year. Gets the ball here.
And off to Smith, he's out to the 35, close to a first down.
They'll move the chains on that play. So again, with 3 minutes to play, Chris, I would hope that we see something positive here. See if you can put the ball in the end zone to avoid the shutout. I mean, even no matter whether it's versus first team or second team, it's always important to play through and try to keep going forward and score.
Smith's still in the backfield with Sullivan. And off again to Bailey, who is taken down for a loss in the backfield. Loss of 2 yards by the interior defensive line.
Again, first team, second team, doesn't matter what Tewksbury has out there. Their offensive and defensive lines are stout in giving us, they're a handful, probably for a lot of teams. Even they're up there in the Merrimack Valley Conference. They dominated up there as well. So, like you said, only lost to North Andover, who's playing again next week as well. So, it's a conference Wilmington was in back in the 90s prior to the move to the Cape Ann. But they put up a tough show here.
Sullivan back to pass, incomplete. Intended for Smolinski out near midfield.
So 3rd and long again here for the Wildcats.
3rd and 11 for the Wildcats.
2 minutes to play. And again, like I said, it's a tough loss. You know, they get beat up like that, but it's tough to end your career like how you're going to walk off the field, but you can walk off the field saying, you know what, I put the effort in to play my 4 years or my 3 years and be proud of what you accomplished as you accomplished it. You were part of a pretty good team last year as well. Seniors can walk off like that. The underclassmen walk off and say, you know what, there's a lot of room to grow here for Wilmington football.
3 receivers right for Wilmington. The pass intended for Erickson is broken up. Broken up by Stephen Arsenault, who made the last play as well.
There's a play where the young receiver didn't come back to that ball, which opened up the lane for the defensive player to knock that ball away.
So we'll see what we're going to do here. Looks like Coach Turner will make another stab at
4th and 11.
4th and 11. Might as well go for it at this point with 2 minutes to go in the game.
Out of our 4th and 11 playbook, let's see what they try to do. Like I said, most likely the last offensive series for the Wildcats.
Same lineup. Got a lot of freshmen on the field right now for the Wildcats. Sullivan sprints out to the right. It's complete to Smolinski. He stays on his feet out
See where
to
they
the
mark that.
43-yard line, short of a first down. So once again, the Redmen will take over on downs.
And unless somebody decides to call a timeout here, these will probably be the last 3 plays of the 2018 Thanksgiving Day game.
For a gain of 9 yards. Tewksbury will take over 1st and 10 on down.
You okay?
So we'll see who comes out at quarterback for the Redmen. Looks like Ryan Remetta getting his marching orders on the far sideline, number 10.
I think we'll see fullback right, fullback left, fullback right, end the game. Everybody can go home and spend some time with their families on this Thanksgiving Day.
So again, I want to thank the broadcast crew today. Adam Dusenberry, our producer and director. Marty McHugh on the main camera, covering all the live action. George Breslin, Tom Pizzara, down on the field, sharing duties with the field camera, and myself, and along with Jim Boyle, our color commentator extraordinaire. Big handoff up the middle to Alou. Carries it down inside the 35-yard line.
They must just,
that was Rich Lavagna.
They must just breed big people in Tewksbury. Must be the water.
I keep on looking.
Yeah, they keep changing up on Chris here. And that'll do it.
Yeah.
They're going to blow the whistle
Whoa.
there.
Well, that quarter went by a little bit quicker than I would have expected. I'm glad I gave out the accolades for the broadcast crew today. So we thank you for joining us on Thanksgiving Day. The final score here at Alumni Field is Tewksbury 43, Wilmington Wildcats nothing. Thank you for joining us for today's broadcast. Wish the Redmen the best of luck next week as they go on to the Super Bowl at Gillette Stadium. Thanks. See you next year. Thank you to Jim and the rest of the crew. Don't forget to join us for Wildcat Sports this fall and winter.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy